The views expressed, opinions given, and any communication made between the hosts and guests of What Are You Afraid of Horror and Paranormal Show do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of Para-X Radio, EMC Network, or all services that play this show. The hosts and services are not responsible for the actions of their guests, and the original rights of all intellectual property is retained by the creator, and all work is used with either permission or Creative Commons license. The show is for entertainment purposes only.
I'm T-Fox Dunham.
And I'm Phil Thomas.
H-3 weeks.
I know.
Halloween 2019. I love it because it rhymes.
Yeah.
Halloween 2019. We're almost there.
Yeah.
It's.
Can you believe it?
I'm actually freaking out a little bit because there's so much I want to do.
Right.
But, you know, it's like the show keeps me really busy, keeps us really busy.
Yeah.
And we've had some great guests on. Trish was on, PDK Sack.
Right, yeah.
I adore Trish.
She's great.
And she is wonderful. She wishes she could come down with us to Cape May, but she's going up to the Merrimack Book Festival.
Oh, she's not going?
No, she can't.
Oh, I thought she was going.
No, but I did speak to the New Jersey Paranormal group today about coming out, so I think they're going to come out to talk about Cape May Ghost Fest.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, that's on October 25th.
Nice.
At the Marquis de Lafayette Hotel in Cape May.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
It's going to be great.
That's a Friday, right?
Yeah, that is a Friday night, and Alice and I are going to be down there for 3 days.
Nice.
Yeah, we're going down to Halloween at Cape May, and then in 2 weeks, we're staying overnight in Lancaster.
Oh, really?
Well, we were going to go to Field of Screams. We're a little tired of the haunts around here. So Field of Screams is really amazing out there in Lancaster.
Right.
And so we were going to go that Saturday and spend the day in Lancaster. Great place for autumn.
Yeah.
Then she got a job interview that Friday.
Okay.
So we decided to stay overnight.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, and to go down and relax.
Perfect.
Enjoy the autumn in Lancaster.
Why not?
We got a cool episode.
Yeah, we do.
This is episode 129, Halloween Fiend. And we've been talking to paranormal investigators, ghost hunters, and authors.
Right.
And it's been a lot of fun speaking to the various authors. In fact, I've got a great paranormal investigator coming on next week for our pre-Halloween episode, Heather Taddy.
Yeah.
Paranormal State.
Yeah, she was on Paranormal State, and she's on
Alien Highway.
The new show, Alien Highway.
Yeah, she's very excited to be on the show. She's in Pittsburgh.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, see if she can come down to Cape May with us.
That'd be cool. Hey, why not, right?
But this is T-Fox.
This is Phil Thomas.
We're counting down to Halloween 2019. Very excited. I just got the website cleaned up.
Yeah. It looks great.
I got the menu restructured.
Yeah. I can tell it's like amazing.
It comes up better on the phone.
Yeah. That's how I tested it.
Yeah.
And everything just flowed. It was wonderful.
Yeah, it's doing much better. You can find that website at www.whatayouafraidofpodcast.com for all of our ghost stories. Now, all of our ghost stories have a narrated component, so you can read the ghost story, or you can listen to it.
Absolutely.
By one of our voice actors.
Yeah.
And it's just...
Or me.
Or you. Or me, yeah. We sometimes
Or
jump
me.
in.
We have to slum it and I'll do it. But.
Yeah, once in a while. I like to get a variation of sound.
Yeah.
You know, you have to keep the ear entertained.
You got it.
If I hear podcasts where it's one guy talking for 3 hours and people get a little...
Yeah.
It gets a little monotonous. You have to...
It's like, all right, I heard this guy enough. We hear another voice here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So a little tip for you. So, let me read a little something to you to put you in the Halloween mood. The walk to the store was cool and damp. October was in full swing, and the fog that settled in the town overnight still lingered in the morning hours after the sun had risen.
Yes.
Sounds like Ray Bradbury, doesn't it?
It sure does.
It reminded me of Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Yeah.
When that wonderful little town in the beginning and all those wonderful characters that eventually are given their heart's desired but also given a curse and thrown on the merry-go-round by Mr. Dark's Emporium Carnival.
Yeah.
Did you read it?
I did.
But this is in a book called Halloween Fiend. It's from author C.V. Hunt. It's from Grindhouse Press. Now, how did you find this book?
I was looking on Amazon for something cool to read this Halloween season. I like to do that, to find something that's fun this time of year with Halloween coming. So I did some searches, and that was one of my results. Mm-hmm. And I read the write-up, and it sounded perfect, right in my wheelhouse. So I bought it.
Right in your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Strange isn't this small, quaint town it appears to be. It's haunted every night by a creature the townsfolk refer to as Halloween. Once the sun sets each day, Halloween emerges to collect its treats, a small live offering from each house. The residents comply because no one wants to be the target of Halloween's tricks. But the nightmare of residing in Strang is nothing compared to the yearly ritual Halloween demands of the citizens on All Hallows Eve.
That's right.
I had known of C.B. Hunt, friends on Facebook, similar circles, but we never quite connected.
Right, and when I told you, I just loosely told you about this book that I bought. I think I showed you a picture.
Yes, you did.
I sent you a picture, and you were like, "Oh, I loosely know her.
Yeah.
I know of her." Yeah.
Yeah, community connection. And I'm sure she'd seen me somewhere too, Fox and Hunt. Ooh, the Fox Hunt.
Fox Hunt.
29.
That was a happy accent right there.
The Fox Hunt. The Fox hunted the hunt. And here we are. Anyway, she is on the show to talk about her book. Hello, CV. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing really well.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you for coming on. So, could you tell us who you are and what you do?
Well, my name is C.V. Hunt. I'm a writer, and I am also the owner and head editor of Grindhouse Press.
Oh,
that's impressive.
Fantastic. Wow. So, and it's published through Grindhouse Press, and I notice you have some other titles out. Tell us about your book, Halloween Fiend.
Halloween Fiend was my attempt at, I wanted to do like a creature feature, like an 80s creature feature. I was thinking of something along the lines of like a pumpkin head, or because normally what I do in horror is more extreme, more transgressive stuff. And I wanted to take a step back and do something that like anybody could pick up and read, that it wasn't too over the top for them.
I find it interesting that you mentioned that about Pumpkinhead, because when I was reading it, that's exactly what I was visualizing.
Was the Pumpkinhead?
Yes, that's
like
exactly was exactly what was in my mind.
That's what a lot of people say, that's what they see too. Right. I was like, well, that's kind of what I had in my head too.
Perfect.
So she tapped into an archetype.
She did. Yeah.
You know, one of the great tarot cards, right. Kind of things. That's fantastic. Well, we are going to be right back with CV. We're going to get into this a little more. But first, I'm going to play our usual ghost story. I always do one in every show. Right. And then you can find that ghost story up at the website at www.whatayouafraidofpodcast.com, and our new ghost archive, which is much more easily accessible.
Yes,
say.
Now it is.
Yes, I worked very hard on it, and I got it together, and I'm actually learning that website to do my author website.
And it shows, too.
Thank you. Thank you, Phil.
It shows.
You know, I want everything to look good. I want it to be impressive, as we seem to be moving into the next phase of our existence. But I got this ghost story from a friend of mine. I play with him on Star Wars Galaxies, the resurrected version.
Oh.
Legends, which is
He's a friend of yours on the MMO?
Mm-hmm. You use all sorts of resources to find resources. And he sent this in to me. His wife did. She's a nurse, and this happened to her at the place where she works. And it's called, I Wonder Which Husband Will Come For Me. David Walton reads it, our British folk singer. And this is I Wonder Which Husband Will Come For Me on episode 129, Halloween Fiend. We'll be right back with C.B. Hunt.
Once a year, we celebrate the dark, glorify the shadows, and summon the monsters to walk with us in the daylight. Once a year, we wear our darkness in normal society.
What are you afraid of? Ghost stories, interviews, horror fiction, music and comedy sketches, plus witty banter with horror authors T. Fox Dunham and filmmaker author Phil Thomas.
We're counting down to Halloween 2019 with extra episodes of the show plus 2 specials.
Phil and Fox will be at the Hotel Marquis de Lafayette in Cape May, New Jersey on Friday, October 25th in the evening to listen to your ghost stories and record our 4th Halloween special. Halloween at the beach.
What are you afraid of?
4 years of horror with over 130 episodes. 200,000 international downloads, and named number 12 in FeedSpot's top 30 horror podcasts.
So celebrate your darkness this Halloween 2019 with Fox and Phil on What Are You Afraid Of? Horror and Paranormal Show on Para X Radio on Friday nights at 9 p.m. and at www.whatareyouafraidofpodcast.com.
Come and get some candy, kitties!
Which husband would come for me? Submitted by Tracy, a nurse in Durham, England. Narrated by David Walton. I was about 20 years of age and living and working in Leighton Buzzard in a reasonably large nursing home. 20 patients when full. It was a high dependency unit, so a lot of hands-on nursing. On the day in question, there was a staff shortage. We had a matron, me, and another member of staff. Luckily, all skilled, long-term staff. We had one lovely lady that was coming to the end of her life. And in those days, we would take turns, hours at a time, to sit with someone whom we think may pass on. It was my turn to sit with them and monitor so they were not alone. My chair was turned towards my client, and I would be there if you reached out to hold her hand and speak to her and reassure her. Previously, she has asked me if I believed someone would come for her when it was her time, and I said I hoped so and believed so. She said, having 2 husbands, she wasn't sure which one she wanted. I laughed and said, why not both? She said, no, maybe George, as he was the first. The room was small, and on the right of me was the small window, and behind me and slightly to the right was the open door. She stirred a bit and said to me, if he comes, you won't be a scared nurse. I said, no, don't you worry, I won't look. And she took my hand again. About an hour went by, and I suddenly noticed that the light from the window was blocked. It became harder to see the book I was reading. I looked out of the corner of my eye, and there was a man. I could just make out an old cap and a long coat. She said, hi, George. And her hand slipped from mine. I was too scared to look right at him, but kept looking out of the corner of my eye. I could see the light returning to the room as he moved until he was gone, and I felt her pulse and pressed the alarm just as the matron arrived at the door. When we did all we had to do, we had a coffee in the office, and I said, wow, that was a weird moment. The matron said quietly, you saw him too? And we admitted to each other what we had seen, and we knew the other staff would never believe it, so we never spoke of it.
Illuminating the paranormal. Opening your mind to the possibility. We'll talk about all things metaphysical, paranormal, and everything in between. Illuminating the Paranormal, Tuesday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern on Para X.
What are you afraid of?
Hi, I'm Tim Wagner, Bram Stoker award-winning author.
Hashtag Grave Girls. This is Katrina Weidman of Destination America's Paranormal Lockdown.
This is Jim Chambers. I'm the author of The Engines of Sacrifice.
This is Jasper Barr, award-winning author of The Final Cut.
And you're listening to What Are You Afraid Of?
What Are You Afraid Of?
To What Are You Afraid Of?
What are you afraid of?
Love it. Fantoxic, please. Fantoxic.
On October 25th, 2019, What Are You Afraid Of will be performing the show at the Hotel Marquis de Lafayette in Cape May, New Jersey. Join the hosts that evening before they perform to tell them all about your supernatural experiences. For more information, visit our website at www.whatareyoufraidofpodcast.com. For reservations and event information, contact the hotel at their website, marquiscapemaynewjersey.com, or call at 609-884-3500, and come out and see us this Halloween 2019 in Cape May, New Jersey. Listen for the episode on Parax Radio at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on October 26th, or find it at our website, www.whatareyoufraidofpodcast.com.
We're back.
We are back.
On episode
That was wonderful.
129. Yeah.
That was wonderful.
Good little ghost story. It's not dark, it's not scary. A lot of the ghost stories we got are just communication stories. Somebody reaching out from the next world.
Right.
They sort of come after they die, or they come for you when they die, or they come with a message, or their just need to protect or love you is so strong in the other world that they reach into this one. And that's what it was. And the poor little old lady wasn't sure which husband was going to come from her. From beyond to lead her into the next world. Wouldn't that be awkward?
Oh, yeah, it
if
would
they
be.
both showed up.
It would be.
You know, that's both husbands coming from the other side.
She's a widow twice.
Yeah, twice.
So it's like, which one's gonna,
And then all your boyfriends or girlfriends show up too. It's like, we all care about you, but which one do you love the most?
I think the husbands take precedence, though.
Yeah.
Over the
You would
boyfriends.
think.
You would.
You would think. But she's like, I'm not dying now. I feel better. I'm better. I feel happy. Hey, we are back on 129 on tonight's episode. Barry, the Flash, was struck by... No, it's the new Flash is on tonight, and my wife's waiting patiently with a knife in the back. We're back with C.B. Hunt on What Are You Afraid Of? Horror and Paranormal Show on Parax Radio on Friday nights.
She's waiting with a can of yellow paint spray.
Yeah,
to spray it,
lightning
if you
bolt.
miss it, you're going to get a lightning bolt.
The strange things we love at Halloween.
Right.
So, CB, what do you love to do to celebrate Halloween?
This year we're trying to watch a horror movie every night through the month of October. Sometimes we try to do that and things get in the way, but so far we've been pretty successful 8 days in, and we've been watching one horror movie a night.
Which one was tonight?
We haven't picked one tonight, but last night was Hatchet, and it had Kane Hodder in it. I think it was 2007, 2009, something like that.
07.
07,
I've met
07,
Kane Hodder
yeah.
many times.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Many times.
Yeah.
He's very cool.
You and your film.
Gentle Giant, yes.
May I suggest one? May I suggest a local film made in Maryland that you can find on Amazon Prime called Territory?
Sure.
Territory. I'll send it to you when we're done.
Yeah, I'll definitely.
Kevin Kangas.
Okay. Yeah.
He was on the show 2 years ago with his crew.
Right.
And they did Territory 1 and 2, and it's just a couple of short stories about different creatures in the woods of Maryland, or ghosts or cannibals, that kind of thing. But it really gets you back to that sort of pulp horror.
Are you doing that ritual, like a horror movie? Because I'm doing that, actually, too. I'm doing the exact same thing she's doing.
I'm doing the TV
I'm doing a
series.
horror movie every single night.
So what was last night?
Last night, I watched I Spit on Your Grave.
Oh. Yeah, that's on Amazon Prime.
Right. Yeah, that's why I found it.
Yeah. I'm doing the TV series right now.
Okay.
You know, I have 2 that I watch every Halloween. Well, it used to be just 1, and of course that's Angel, the vampire with a soul.
Right.
You know, I got into an argument with somebody over that because they said that, well, never mind, William the Bloody Spike, he has a soul, but, you know, Angel is the only vampire with a real soul. And I'm doing The Strain.
Okay.
On Hulu.
Yeah.
An interesting take on the vampire story as a biohazard, apocalyptic, fascist story.
Right.
Of course, he taps into elements of the Third Reich and Nazi elements and brings that forward and sort of creates that level of fascism. And so it has a lot to say to our recent history, and it's a very good. Have you seen this strain?
No. I'm very aware of it, though.
Yeah,
I've heard of it.
Check out a few episodes on Hulu. And we were talking about CB's wonderful book, Halloween Fiend. We have links for that up at the website at www.whatareyoufraidofpodcast.com. And we have a written interview that'll sort of continue this interview for more information about her writing and the book and about Grindhouse Press. And again, you can find that up at www.whatareyoufraidofpodcast.com.
You know, the everyday life of Barry in this book and his father is a forgotten reality for many people. Did you pull off of personal experience with that whole situation, or was it anyone close to you that you knew that had that situation?
Yeah, that whole situation, I'd say about 90% of it I pulled from the relationship with my own father.
All right, yeah.
So
it seemed very, realistic, and like you knew exactly, yeah, I could tell that you were someone that might have lived through this. Yes.
Yes, yeah. I tend to do that with a lot of writing, which is just like not completely 100%, but like, characters and situations and places that I visited, things like that will kind of get peppered in through certain stories.
Right. I thought it was great. It really was. I kind of have a similar situation too with my own mom. She's she's not well, and trying to take care of her. And when I was reading the book, it really connected with me because I was reading it and I was seeing a lot of similarities and experiences of my own life that I was reading in that. So I was like, this author has to have lived through this. I felt it. It's amazing. Another thing that really struck me is I was really intrigued by a particular style choice that you made. So your main character, Barry, is written very wonderfully, I might add, in first person. So were there any challenges writing from a male's perspective? And if so, what were they?
For the most part, a lot of my stories are first person male perspective. Okay. I find it more comfortable to write that way. I always tell people jokingly that I was raised by a pack of men. I have two older brothers and then my dad, and my dad was kind of like home during the day and my mom was working through the day. So like basically my dad raised me through the daytime and mom would take care of me in the evening when dad went to work and stuff. So, but yeah, I've always been around like my brothers and their friends and stuff. So there was always more male influence growing up than there were what were female influences.
You know, I've been writing for years off and on. And when I first started submitting stories, and I wrote a lot of these stories, and of course you go back 10 years and read your own work, and you just throw up.
Okay, yeah, right, you know, exactly. Yeah, you really do.
You've gotten so much better.
You really do.
How could I have submitted this? I should have waited 50 years to send out another story. And so I was writing stories from a male or female perspective, and I picked up my perspective of writing about women, not from women totally, but from other authors who had written about women. Mostly like Bradbury, Vonnegut. And I'm sorry to say, they didn't have the best.
Right, and it's not easy to do. It's not easy to do, especially if you're writing in the first person. Like, third person is not quite, I don't think it's quite as tough, but she was giving a male's voice. Yeah. It's more difficult, I think.
I was just sending off these stories thinking, well, if Ray Bradbury wrote like this, then it was okay. Right. And then finally a female editor said, Fox, this isn't really well written in the female point of view. You need to work on that. And of course, if an editor who's got 1,000 submissions in their box takes the time to say, screw you, you know, you listen. I sat back and decided to take a lot more time and turn away from those authors and try to read more modern fiction by women. Right. Translating into writing as opposed to speaking and knowing people is a whole different thing.
Absolutely. I don't know if I could even do that.
Yeah, it's...
I might be able to do it from a third-person perspective, but a first-person might be... I've never done it before, so I never even attempted it, so I don't know how well I would do.
Right, and I've shied away from it.
John Carpenter movie, Halloween. I know that Deborah Hill wrote all the female dialogue parts.
Really?
Because he couldn't do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll get C.B. Hunt. No, wait, she writes the mail.
Right.
Darn it. I'll get Trish. Trish can write it.
There you go. Interesting. So this isn't giving anything away because you don't specifically mention it in the novella. I just need to know, what exactly is this thing? Like, what is Halloween? And I was wondering also if maybe you're going to do, like, expand on the universe of it, like maybe a backstory or something along those lines. I'd really like to know, like, where this thing came from, its origins, and, like, what it is.
In my mind, when I was thinking about writing it, it was like, this thing that had always been there is basically how it's told in the book. But in my mind, it was, you know, how there's like a lot of stories about like old gods and, you know, things coming from the earth, like energies and stuff that manifest into something. That's kind of how I saw it, was like this thing lived in this area. It manifested itself into something physical when people showed up, and it just began terrorizing the town that basically built itself around its home.
That doesn't give anything away. No one knows what that is. But it's called the Dot. Yeah,
because we're going to give it away on the website. You want to go over, you know, we're going to say...
No one will know what that means. So
www. What are you afraid of spoiler? Check out links to C.V. Hunt on the website at www.whatayouafraidofpodcast.com. And we are on Pararex Radio.
Yes, we are.
On Friday nights talking to C.V. Hunt, author of Halloween Fiend, which really got Phil humming this Halloween.
I did.
Really got him into the spirit. I'm holding the book in my... It's a beautiful book.
Yeah, we have it right here. We're looking
I love the art on this. Who did the artwork?
I'm hoping I pronounce his last name right. It's Sam, either Hamer or Heimer. It's Heimer. All of his artwork, he does illustrations. It's all Halloween themed, all of his illustrations. He has websites where he sells prints and stuff too. They're all really, really fantastic. I can't remember exactly how I stumbled across him. I think maybe on Instagram somehow or another. And, when I got to writing this book, I immediately was just like, I know who I want to do the artwork for this.
It's amazing.
I mean, look at that. We'll put up a link to him.
Yeah, my jaw dropped.
Yeah, we'll put up a link at the website at www.whatayouafraidofpodcast.com. Looks beautiful. I love the bone creature and the pumpkin turning into the skull. And are these maggots here? Maybe the grass? Oh, I see maggots on the
worms back there. Yeah.
The worms, yeah.
The worms crawl out.
That's right.
Like David Walton did that wonderful version for us on What Are You Afraid of Paranormal Show. And we're going to play an excerpt read by our wonderful, beautiful David Walton. This is Halloween Fiend by C.B. Hunt, episode 129, Halloween Fiend on What Are You Afraid of Paranormal Show on Parax Radio Friday nights. And again, check out our website at www.whatayouafraidofpodcast.com for a page for every episode, all 129, plus new articles, other interviews, and our archival ghost stories with a narrated component. So this is David Walton reading from Halloween Fiend. We'll be right back.
An excerpt from Halloween Fiend, a novel by author C.V. Hunt and read by David Walton. I said, "You think I'm crazy." Henry sputtered a few times, trying to come up with an appropriate response. No, Addison said. It's just a lot to take in. She choked the last of her beer, and I wasn't sure if she needed the drink to process the outlandish story, or if she was stalling in order to come up with something appropriate to say to the insane person claiming there was some supernatural entity roaming the town as we spoke, gobbling up all the critters the residents left out for it. It's true, I said. You guys said so yourselves. The town is weird, that's why. I shot to my feet and got lightheaded. I was never sure why anyone past their 20s would ever do drugs or drink when they could just stand up quickly. I grabbed a support beam above my head and waited for the dizziness to pass. Once I'd regained myself, I said, "Come on, I'll show you if you don't believe me." Addison flipped the hair out of her face. "You don't have to do that." Henry stood and swayed. "You mean you can show it to us? Right now?" "I can try," I said. "It seems to be pissed at me and has been going out of its way to screw with me." "I want to see," Henry said. He started towards the drop-down ladder. "Henry," Addison chided him. "Be careful," I said, indicating the descent. I followed him. Addison made a disgruntled noise, but grabbed the cooler and started dragging it towards the opening in the floor. Henry started down the stairs first. He dropped to his knees and carefully backed down the rickety stairs cautiously. I followed his method, and Addison handed down the cooler of beer before she did the same. We made our way to the living room, and I threw open the curtains facing the street. The three of us stood there staring out the window. The other two watched skeptically as nothing happened. Henry popped open another can of beer. "How long's this gonna take? 'Cause I gotta take a leak." I flicked the locks to the window and almost fell as I pulled it open. The windows were as old as the house and ran on a rope and pulley system, but neither Mum nor Dad had been much for allowing fresh air in. No one in Strang was, lest they forgot to shut a window after sundown. I managed to crack the window a couple of inches and dropped to my knees in front of it. My knee cracked loudly, and there was a pain dulled by the alcohol, and I silently hoped I hadn't done something that would hurt tomorrow when I woke. I put my mouth to the cracked window and yelled, "Hey, Halloween! Hey, asshole! Got some people here who want to see you." I grabbed the sill and hoisted myself to my feet. The old wood of the sill cracked and pulled away from the wall, and I fell on my arse. Addison gasped and stumbled back a few steps. It took me a second to realise Halloween was standing right outside the window. It was a dark blur under the streetlights outside. Its darkened shadow was darker than even the darkest night, as if it were made up of a black hole. Henry wheezed and sputtered, and a pattering sound came from behind me. I scuttled backward, sobering almost instantly, until I put my hand in something wet. "What the fuck?" Addison said, backing away until she bumped into an end table. The guinea pigs began to squeal shrilly. Halloween solidified into the thing it had become the night Dad died. The darkened part of its chest was a black hole. It bent forward, placed its exceptionally long fingers through the window, and grabbed the sill. Halloween lowered its head to the crack and began to recite a rhyme. "The moon shines on a frightful scene, ghouls and goblins to make you scream, jack-o'-lanterns with eerie light to illuminate the darkest night. In the witching hour banshees wail, black cats lash their bushy tails. Reverse the number in 13, and then you'll know it's Halloween." The thing laughed. "Aren't you going to invite me in, Barry? It looks like you've started the festivities early." It pulled its head away from the crack and slowly reversed its fingers to curl around the bottom of the window. The window shuttered and jumped a half-inch in the track as Halloween began to open it. Addison shrieked and bolted from her position. She grabbed the top part of the window and threw all her weight into slamming it shut. A small crack appeared in the pane when it banged back in place, and from my position on the floor, I barely perceived Halloween retracting its fingers right before the window came down on them. It put its face close to the glass, directly in front of Addison's face. She backed away, and I scrambled on my hands and knees to the window. Beyond the oppressing figure of Halloween, I spotted Janice standing in her window, watching. I didn't have time to think about the ramifications of her observing Halloween screwing with me while I was hosting the carnies, or the fact she most likely spotted Addison confronting Halloween, or how she could possibly pick up her telephone and call any one person in the whole town, and by morning everyone in Strang, including Grayson, would know the carnies knew our secret. I snatched the edges of the curtain and pulled them closed. "Holy fuck!" Addison shouted. Halloween laughed outside. The laughter grew softer and softer as it moved down the street, echoing off the houses as it moved. I got to my feet and turned to face the other two. Both were pale as a sheet. The front of Henry's pants was darkened, and it dawned on me what the wet thing was my hand had touched. I held my hand up and away from me. A grimace crossed my face. Henry said, "I done pissed myself."
Keep on buzzing and we keep on nudging forward, keep on crawling and we creep on creaking walls, we keep on buzzing and we keep on nudging forward.
Hi, I'm David Walton, and I drop whatever I'm doing to read whatever Fox and Phil demand of me. My digital, as opposed to ectoplasmic alter ego, is called Brendan Shawland, who regularly plays guitar and sings in a virtual world. Brendan has a website, David doesn't. Bandcamp sales figures would suggest that Brendan's music is decidedly niche. If you want to be in the vanguard of support as Brendan heads towards global domination, just put Brendan Shawland in your favourite search engine, and you'll find his website very close to the top. You'll see what the human looks like, and you can check out the Listen to a Song page to access Brendan's unwillingly private world of creative output.
Hey, this is Lee.
And this is Michelle.
And this is Scott from the Dead Zone, Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard.
Your source for everything paranormal. Para-X.
Mercy, a new horror medical thriller from author T. Fox Dunham, published by Bloodbound Books. Based on the author's horrific battle with a rare form of lymphoma that involved intense chemotherapy and radiation, Fox turns the horror of his experience into terror on the page.
William Saint is dying of cancer. On most days, death seems like a humane alternative to the treatment. Stricken with fever, William is rushed to Mercy, notorious as a place to send the sickest of the poor and uninsured to be forgotten, and finds the hospital in even worse condition than his previous visit.
Willie's memories faded. He grabbed his sack head of the scarecrow, picking at the exposed chicken wire to hold them in. However, the memories fell out of the holes in his face. They wormed and crawled from the leather flesh and the old clothing of the scarecrow, then squirmed and wiggled down his body.
The grounds are unkempt, the foundation is cracking, and like the wild mushrooms sprouting from the fissures of decay around it, something is growing inside the hospital. Something dark.
Fangoria gives Mercy 3.5 out of 4 skulls. Dunham has channeled his many brushes with the other side into the exquisitely rendered, lyrical, supernatural hospital thriller Mercy.
It's feeding on the sickness and sustaining itself on the staff, changing them, and now it wants Willie.
Come now, Mr. Saint. Just a little more of that sweet milk. So salty and so good. You won't miss it. And we ever do so like our delicacies here at Mercy Hospital.
Part medical horror, part supernatural suspense, Mercy is a hard-hitting fever dream of a novel. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Tim Wagner, author of The Way of All Flesh and Eat the Night. Available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and bookstores everywhere in both print and digital versions.
Life is an addiction.
Let go. Let it all burn.
All right, here we go. Quiet! Roll up!
Hello everyone, I'm Andrew Willis, the host of Movies Now and Then. We're a podcast that looks at one new release film in theaters, then we compare and contrast it with a classic or underappreciated film from cinema history. We're not a traditional movie show in that we try to have a more conversational approach to our discussion. We want our listeners to be informed, engaged, and hopefully even entertained. If this sounds like something you might enjoy, give us a listen. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, or anywhere podcasts are found by searching Movies Now and Then.
We're back.
We are back.
Episode 129, Halloween Fiend David. He makes the show.
He really does.
We have fans that kind of come on the chat room, Para-X, and go, Who are these two idiots talking? Where's the English guy? The English chap.
He can recite the phone book, and it sounds interesting.
I'm going to ask him to do that. Aaron Oddva. It's like,
7, 8, 9.
Oh, my word. Yorkshire. That's wonderful, Dave. Now, there's a little song I found on the Free Music Archive called We Creep on Creaky Boards from Baffy.
Oh,
like a little Halloween music that we do. But we've got a great couple of episodes left, too, for the Halloween season, because we're going to be in Cape May, New Jersey on October 25th at the Marquis de Lafayette Hotel. And the hotel has a long history of ghost stories as part of the rich cycle of the paranormal lore in Cape May, and it's been investigated by paranormal investigators and featured in many ghost story books. Check out their website at marquiscapemay.com. You can call them at 609-884-3500. We'll be there Friday night, October 25th. The show's going to start at 7. We'll be there at 6. And we'll have hosts and guests and stuff to be gathered, and we're going to try to do it live, depending on their internet.
Yeah, we're going to try.
One thing we've noticed about doing the show, we try to do them live from haunted places, is that haunted places usually have crappy internet.
Yeah. Like or the internet's good, but just when we're trying to broadcast, it doesn't work.
Yeah, we're haunted by that. Like we did it from Mark Nesbitt, and
Gettysburg didn't work at all.
Didn't work there. And then we were at Penhurst, and they powered that place with generators. And
yeah. So we got nothing there.
That didn't work.
Nope.
So what can you do?
There's nothing we could do.
I know, I can't. But Cape May is a hotel.
So it should work.
Yeah, I mean, they've got internet on every floor for every room. Hopefully we'll do a video and then audio.
I think we'll be all right.
I think so. It'll be good. It'll be a lot of fun. We're going down to the beach for Halloween.
Yeah. I've never been down there for Halloween.
I know.
This will be a first for me. CV, I wanted to ask, since I read your book, it's the only one I read so far, but I plan on reading some more. One of them that really stuck out for me when I was reading the titles was Cockblock. I'm like, whoa, what is this? Like, what is Cockblock? Do you want to briefly speak about your other books?
Well, Cockblock, definitely, I think if you were watching I Spit on Your Grave last night, it might be up your alley.
I don't know if that was a euphemism.
I didn't watch that last night. I was watching the night before. I was actually reading your book last night. I was finishing it. So, yeah, so it was the night before that I watched it.
Okay.
Well, not that it matters, but
took over Phil's movie night CV. That's so like
I actually didn't watch the movie last night.
That's better than a Stoker's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was amazing though. Kind of in that same realm. Spit on Your Grave, Cockblock.
So it's definitely a throwback to those Grindhouse films of like the 70s, the revenge tales, the nunsploitation type stuff. It's kind of a mashup of all that type of things, and it's also kind of topical in the climate today as far as like social satire and stuff. Ritualistic Human Sacrifice seems to be one that everybody really likes too. It's very dark. As far as the protagonist is, everybody says he's kind of the guy that you love to hate and you hate to love.
Nice. That sounds good.
Some of my older stuff is more like dark fantasy, a little surreal, absurd type things like Hell's Waiting Room and How to Kill Yourself and stuff like that.
I saw those titles too, and I'm like, wow, those are interesting titles. I'm like, wow, How to Kill Yourself and Hell's Waiting Room and Ritualistic Sacrifice. I'm like, wow. I was thinking, I got to read some of these.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, I love this. This looks amazing. I'm definitely adding this to my Halloween, collection. And of course, we are What Are You Afraid of? Paranormal Show. This is our countdown to Halloween 2019. We've been speaking to author C.V. Hunt. And again, find information about C.V. and find her extended interview, because we only have 58 minutes to do these shows, and I like to get a ghost story and then the excerpt from the book so people can listen to what we're talking about. But you can find links to her in the extended interview at www.whatayouafraidofpodcast.com. And next week we're going to have Heather Taddy on.
Yes, we are.
From Paranormal State. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then we'll be around
Alien Highway. Right?
Alien Highway, yeah. It's going to be, she's wonderful to speak to. I've spoken to her on the phone.
That'll be great. And we already talked to Chuck Zukowski.
Chuck Zukowski.
Who's her co-star on the show.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, that was a great interview.
That was
good. This will be a great follow-up.
Aliens want our cows.
They do, yeah, remember that? That was amazing.
So in closing, what's everyone's Halloween film tomorrow that you'll be watching? We'll start with Phil.
Okay, tomorrow I think we're going to actually do, I'm getting together with a couple friends. We're going to do some screenwriting, and then I think we're going to watch Halloween 4.
Halloween 4?
Yeah. The 88 one, 1988.
Sure.
Yeah.
How about you, CV? What's tomorrow's film?
I'm not real sure yet. We have such a big playlist of things saved to watch. We've just been kind of going through and randomly picking one, but I did pick up a couple of Vinegar Syndrome DVDs at a convention lately, and I know there's one in there, it's called The Suckling, that I'm really interested in watching.
She's like an encyclopedia of obscure.
You're either going to do Halloween 4 or Dark Night of the Scarecrow. I just remembered that. So have either one of you seen Dark Night of the Scarecrow?
I've heard of it.
Oh, you should.
No, I have not seen
It's
that.
a great Halloween season movie. It's amazing.
I think tomorrow I'm going to put away Angel for a little bit because I'm running out of episodes. And I think I'm going to start with the classic, Dawn of the Dead.
Okay.
The original.
Oh.
The extended original.
You gotta do the original.
Yeah, and I have this DVD set with
George Romero.
There's like 40 minutes of extra material in it, but I'll start with Dawn. I'll go through my zombie movies, and there's a lot of incredible indie films on Amazon Prime.
Right.
Like your film's on there.
There's a lot. Yeah, it is.
What's it called again?
Yeah, Always from Darkness.
Always from Darkness.
Mm-hmm. And False Face was. I think False Face still might be on there.
It probably will be.
I think it is. It was on there. I think it's still on there.
I am planning on putting up a list of obscure Amazon Prime films on the website this year. I did one last year. With like zombie films and stuff, and I'll do another one this year. Again, check that out at www.whatayouafraidofpodcast.com. CB, it's been wonderful speaking to you, and I'm so glad we could set this up.
It was great.
I'm glad that it worked out and we got to actually talk to each other and stuff. Yeah, I'm happy that you guys had me on.
Yeah, that's what we do. Authors and paranormal investigators and lots of creative minds. We're out there to support the author and the artist fighting. It's been a great episode. Episode 129, Halloween Fiend. We'll be back at 1:30 with Heather Toddy.
That's right.
You know, I'm T-Box Dunham.
And I'm Phil Thomas.
Don't ever laugh as a hearse goes by, for you may be the next to die. They wrap you up in a big white sheet, from your head down to your feet. They put you in a big black box and cover you up with dirt and rocks. All goes well for about a week, and then your coffin begins to leak. And the worms crawl in, the worms crawl out, the worms play pinochle on your snout. They eat your eyes, they eat your nose, they eat the jelly between your toes. A big green worm with rolling eyes crawls in your stomach and out your eyes. Your stomach turns a slimy green, and pus pours out like whipping cream. You spread it on a slice of bread, and that's what you eat when you're dead. And the worms crawl out and the worms crawl in. The worms that crawl in are lean and thin. The ones that crawl out are fat and stout. Your eyes fall in and your hair falls out. Your brain comes tumbling down your snout, and the worms crawl in, the worms crawl out. They crawl all over your dirty snout. Your chest caves in and your eyes pop out. Your brain turns to sauerkraut. They invite their friends and their friends too. They all come down to chew on you, and this is what it is to die. I hope you had a nice goodbye. Did you ever think as a hearse goes by that you might be the next to die? Your eyes fall out, your teeth decay, and that is the end of a perfect day.
Mostly like Bradbury, Vonnegut. I'm sorry to say they didn't have the best.
Right, I mean, it's not easy to do. It's not easy to do. Phil Thomas is an author and screenwriter from the suburbs of Philadelphia. His screenplays have been produced into 2 feature films, False Face and Always from Darkness, and are available in major retailers such as Best Buy and Target, as well as availability on Netflix and Amazon Prime on demand. His screenplay, 3 Tunnels, was a semi-finalist at the LA Screenplay Competition. He is a member of the International Association of Professional Writers and Editors, and he currently writes for Cultured Vultures, Game Skinny, and BloodyDisgusting.com. He formerly held the position of Senior Marketing Manager at Eternal Press, and was a journalist for Patch, where he wrote a daily tech column covering the latest electronics and gadgets. He lives in the suburbs of Philadelphia, and is currently working on his second novel, Worst Afterlife Ever.
T. Fox Dunham lives in Philadelphia with his wife Allison. He's a lymphoma survivor, cancer patient, modern bard and historian. His first book, The Street Martyr, was published by Gutter Books. A television series based on the book is being produced by Throughline Films. Destroying the Tangible Illusion of Reality or Searching for Andy Kaufman, a book about what it's like to be dying of cancer, was released from Perpetual Motion Machine Publishing, and Fox has a story in the Stargate anthology Points of Origin from MGM and Fandemonium Books. Fox is an active member of the Horror Writers Association, and he's had published hundreds of short stories and articles. His motto is Wrecking Civilization, one story at a time. Find out more information at www.tfoxdunham.com.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.